The narrative of Animal Farm begins on Manor Farm, a small, neglected estate in the English countryside, owned by the perpetually drunk and incompetent farmer, Mr. Jones. The animals on the farm live a miserable existence, overworked, underfed, and constantly exploited by their human master. The catalyst for change arrives in the form of Old Major, a venerable 12-year-old prize-winning boar, who gathers all the animals in the big barn one night to share a revolutionary dream. Old Major, recognizing his own mortality, imparts his wisdom, declaring that the source of all the animals' suffering is the tyranny of man. He argues passionately that man consumes without producing, taking the fruits of the animals' labor, the eggs, the milk, the foals, and the meat, while giving nothing in return but the barest sustenance. He calls upon the animals to rise up and overthrow their human oppressors, establishing a society where animals are free, equal, and self-governing. He introduces the concept of animalism, a complete system of thought based on the principle that all animals are comrades and all humans are enemies. Before concluding his powerful address, Old Major teaches the animals a long-forgotten song called Beasts of England, a stirring anthem that envisions a utopian future free from the yoke of humanity, a song that instantly ignites a revolutionary fervor in the hearts of every creature present. Old Major dies peacefully in his sleep just 3 nights later, but his speech has planted the seeds of rebellion. The task of organizing and educating the other animals falls to the pigs, who are generally recognized as the cleverest of the animals. Among them, 2 young boars, Snowball and Napoleon, quickly emerge as the primary leaders, though their personalities and approaches are starkly different. Snowball is quick, inventive, and a brilliant orator, genuinely dedicated to spreading the principles of animalism and improving the animals' lives through committees and education. Napoleon, on the other hand, is large, fierce-looking, and quiet, preferring to work behind the scenes and showing no interest in Snowball's committees, focusing instead on secretly training a litter of 9 young puppies, isolating them from the rest of the farm. The pigs manage to synthesize Old Major's teachings into a complete doctrine, and the animals, particularly the 2 cart horses, Boxer and Clover, embrace the new philosophy wholeheartedly. Boxer, a massive, dedicated, and somewhat dim-witted worker, adopts the personal motto, "I will work harder," which becomes the driving force of the farm's labor. The rebellion, which the animals had expected to take years, happens spontaneously and sooner than anyone anticipated when Mr. Jones, having lost money in a lawsuit and having taken to heavy drinking, neglects to feed the animals for a full day. Driven by hunger, the animals break into the store shed, and when Jones and his men attempt to whip them into submission, the animals turn on them in a unified, furious charge, driving the humans off the farm entirely. With the humans gone, the animals celebrate their freedom, destroying the instruments of their oppression, such as whips, reins, and nose rings. Manor Farm is triumphantly renamed Animal Farm. The pigs, having learned to read and write from an old spelling book, reduce the principles of animalism to 7 commandments, which are painted in large white letters on the side of the big barn, intended to be the unalterable law of the land forever. The most crucial of these commandments is the 7th. All animals are equal. The animals immediately set about the work of the farm, and under the pigs' intelligent direction, they achieve a harvest more successful than any Mr. Jones had managed. Boxer's immense strength and unwavering dedication are instrumental to this success. However, the first signs of the pigs' emerging superiority begin to appear subtly. The pigs announce that, due to their superior intellect and the necessity of maintaining the farm's organization, they will reserve all the milk and the windfall apples for themselves. Squealer, a small, fat pig with a talent for persuasive rhetoric, is tasked with convincing the other animals that this is a necessary sacrifice for the greater good, arguing that the pigs need the nutrients to keep their brains working, and warning that if the pigs fail, Mr. Jones will surely return. This fear of Jones's return becomes the pig's most effective tool of control. The ideological conflict between Snowball and Napoleon intensifies as they vie for control of the farm. Snowball dedicates himself to improving the farm's defenses and literacy, but his most ambitious project is the plan to build a massive windmill, which he argues will generate electricity, automate many tasks, and provide the animals with a comfortable 3-day work week. Napoleon opposes the idea vehemently, arguing that food production is the only priority. The debate over the windmill reaches its climax at a Sunday meeting. Snowball delivers a brilliant, passionate speech in favor of the project, seemingly swaying the majority of the animals. Just as the vote is about to be taken, Napoleon lets out a high-pitched whimper, and the 9 powerful dogs he had secretly raised burst into the barn, chasing Snowball off the farm and nearly tearing him to pieces. Snowball is never seen again. With Snowball gone, Napoleon immediately seizes absolute power, abolishing the Sunday meetings and declaring that all decisions will henceforth be made by a special committee of pigs, presided over by himself. Squealer is deployed to rewrite history, portraying Snowball as a criminal and a traitor who had been secretly working for Mr. Jones all along. The animals are initially uneasy, but Squealer's smooth talking, coupled with the menacing growls of the 9 dogs, silences any dissent. 3 weeks later, Napoleon announces that the windmill will be built after all, claiming that it was his idea from the beginning and that Snowball had merely stolen the plans. The animals are confused, but Squealer assures them that Napoleon is a genius strategist who only pretended to oppose the windmill to get rid of the dangerous Snowball. The animals, led by Boxer's tireless efforts and his new motto, "Napoleon is always right," begin the arduous task of building the windmill. The farm enters a period of hardship. The animals work like slaves, and food rations are cut, all while the pigs live in increasing luxury. Napoleon begins trading with the neighboring human farmers, Mr. Whymper acting as his intermediary, a move that directly violates one of the original resolutions of the rebellion. When the animals express concern, Squealer assures them that no such resolution was ever passed, or that they must have misremembered it. The pigs move into the farmhouse and begin sleeping in beds. When Clover the mare questions this, she finds the 4th commandment now reads, "No animal shall sleep in a bed with sheets." Squealer explains that a bed is merely a place to sleep, and the pigs, being the brainworkers, require comfortable rest. When the partially completed windmill is destroyed by a fierce storm, Napoleon immediately blames the exiled Snowball, declaring him a saboteur and sentencing him to death. This constant fear and the manufactured threat of Snowball become the primary means of controlling the animals. The tyranny escalates into outright terror. Napoleon calls a meeting where he forces several animals, 4 pigs, 3 hens, and a sheepy to confess to being Snowball's secret agents and traitors. Immediately following their confessions, the dogs tear out their throats, marking the first time an animal has killed another animal since the rebellion. The animals are horrified, realizing that the farm has become more brutal than it ever was under Mr. Jones. Clover checks the barn wall again and finds the 6th commandment now reads, "No animal shall kill any other animal without cause." The pigs continue to manipulate the commandments and the farm's history, aided by Squealer's relentless propaganda and the terrifying presence of the dogs. The anthem "Beasts of England" is banned, replaced by a new, less inspiring song praising Napoleon. The most tragic event in the farm's history is the fate of Boxer. After years of backbreaking labor, during which he single-handedly carried the weight of the windmill's construction, Boxer's strength finally fails him. He collapses while hauling a load of stone, his lung injured. The pigs pretend to show concern, and Napoleon promises to send him to be treated at a veterinary hospital in Willingdon. A large van arrives to take Boxer away, but Benjamin, the cynical old donkey who has always remained aloof and observant, reads the lettering on the side of the van. Alfred Simmons, horse slaughterer and glue boiler, Willingdon. He desperately alerts the other animals who try to stop Boxer, but it is too late. Boxer is taken away to be killed. Squealer, with his usual eloquence, appears later to explain that the van had recently been purchased by the veterinary surgeon, and the old knacker sign had not yet been repainted. He claims Boxer died peacefully in the hospital, uttering his final words in praise of Napoleon. The animals are convinced, and the pigs use the money they received from the horse slaughterer to buy a case of whiskey, which they drink that night years pass. Many of the animals who participated in the rebellion have died, and the farm has expanded and become more prosperous, but only the pigs and dogs benefit. The animals' lives remain hard, and the farm's original ideals are a distant, forgotten memory. The pigs have learned to walk upright on two legs, wear Mr. Jones's clothes, and carry whips. The 7 commandments have been completely erased from the barn wall, replaced by a single chilling maxim. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. The farm is renamed back to Manor Farm. In the final scene, the pigs host a dinner party for the neighboring human farmers, celebrating their shared interests and mutual respect. Napoleon announces that the farm will now be run on a strictly business-like basis, and the animals will no longer call each other comrade. As the other animals watch through the farmhouse window, they observe a heated argument between Napoleon and Mr. Pilkington over a game of cards. They look from pig to man, and from man to pig, and then from pig to man again, realizing with a profound sense of horror that it is impossible to tell which is which. The revolution has come full circle, and the new masters are indistinguishable from the old. The novel serves as a powerful, enduring allegory for the corruption of revolutionary ideals and the dangers of totalitarianism, demonstrating how easily a movement founded on equality can devolve into the very oppression it sought to destroy.